This is going to be a series about black men, certain things that some black men might do that could possibly sabotage their relationships or any future relationships they might have. This is not a black man bashing video. This is by all means just some key things that I've observed that I'd like to try and get the word out there to help the improvement of long, so that we can just make our relationships a lot richer. The first thing I want to touch on is that there are some black men, and again, I'm not talking to all black men, and I'm not saying that if you might do these things that this makes you any less of a man. These are just points that might need some improvement to better off your manhood, make it more solid, and not have anything there to weaken it. But the first thing I'm going to say is about some black men might demand a lot of things of their woman. Now notice I said the word demand. Now in my little dictionary here, the word demand means to ask for with authority, claim as due or just, to ask earnestly or in the manner of a command, to call for as a useful or necessary, to require. Now, some of you might say, what's wrong with being demanding, or what's wrong with demanding a lot of things of my woman? Now, the thing is that notice I said demand and not command. Now, with men being who they are, naturally wanting to have authority, you would want to be in a commanding situation instead of a demanding situation. So here again in my little dictionary, the definition of command is to direct, authoritatively, order, to exercise a dominating influence, have command of, to overlook from a strategic position. I think that's clearly exactly what a lot of men are looking for, and not saying that they're treating their woman or their wives like they're their employee or whatnot, because that should never be tolerated. But what I really want to concentrate on, the part of this definition I want to concentrate on, is to exercise a dominating influence over. I'm going to say that again, to exercise a dominating influence over. And also to overlook from a strategic position. Now, first of all, I'm going to say that we've gone way too long failing our men, and we have a lot of boys growing up and being demanding big boys instead of commanding men. And when you're commanding, you're not bullying or intimidating. You have that dominating influence and ability to control. You never have to say it because people just feel it in your presence. Now, how do you gain a commanding presence? First, you have to understand that everyone starts out crawling first, and you have to be open to change and correction and acceptance of failures in order to apply the knowledge that you've gained. So after you've done all that, then you're hanging on to the wall, and now you're taking a few steps because you fail a few times and you've grasped the ability to keep your balance a little bit longer, okay? So you get to this point by developing your decision-making skills, number one. Number two, you develop your critical thinking skills. And number three, you develop your coping skills. Now, I am a firm believer in pointing out what the problem might be, and also offering up some solutions. Not just saying, nagging, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and then not having any solutions to it. Now, first, you have to understand that it starts in the brain. You have to set your mind up to get ready to add some more wrinkles on there. So, where you begin, this is where you're going to begin to sense, and you're going to get used to that feeling of having complete control over your own mind. I'm going to say that again. You're going to start sensing. Once you understand that it starts in the brain, you're going to start sensing and having that feeling, which is a good feeling, to have complete control over your own mind. I'm not sure that people really get what that means. Now, what I mean by to have complete control over your own mind is that not that nobody else can tell you what to do, but it goes along the lines of knowing yourself well enough to where no one can lie to you about who you are. No one else can fill your head with lies about who you are, or bring doubt into your mind about who you are. That's what having complete control over your mind means. When you know enough about yourself, somebody can't say, oh, you such a dog, you such a dog. And so when you have complete control over your own mind, that's not even going to affect you. When somebody else says that, that's not even going to affect you. You're going to say to yourself, well, if that person doesn't see me for who I am, then I might just have to let them go. Because that's a clear sign right there that they're going to start trying to treat me different, or trying to treat me lesser than who I really am. And that's also part of having high self-esteem, but we'll make another video about that later on. But because you control your own mind, so no one can tell you anything about yourself. I'm not saying that don't take criticism, constructive criticism, because by all means, if someone is saying, hey, I think you might need to work on a little bit, maybe your tone of your voice or whatnot. Maybe, such and such doesn't really communicate that well with that. Then you don't just say, well, I know enough about myself to know that I'm not offending her. Well, no, you might actually be offending her. And, you could be the boss man, or you could be her peer. And constructive criticism might be to just take in consideration, your reaction to that would be take in consideration what's being said. And if you know for a fact that this is a person that has a personal problem with you, then you take it from there, and you don't take in constructive criticism with that. But anyway, moving on. So to develop these decision-making skills, you either write them down, or you could just think through what the pros and cons of an outcome to an action might be. And I believe that it's better to write them down, because you make a visual of what's going on in your head, so you can't really miss anything. But some people can just sit down and just thoroughly give themselves time to think stuff through. I'm going to touch on developing critical thinking skills shortly, and then I'm going to finish up that part in the next section here. But basically, to develop critical thinking skills, you keep your comprehension and your skepticism skills up to date. You're making sure that, I don't care how little the situation may be, you never leave the who, what, where, when, why, and how questions unanswered. I'm going to say that again. You don't leave the who, what, where, when, why, and how questions unanswered. You don't leave them unanswered. I'm going to have a part 2 continuation to this. Thank you.